Welcome back. It is time for Legal Live. With us is Tom Winslow from Goldfinch Winslow. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
So we talk about the hard-hitting topics out there. For instance, if my University of Georgia Bulldogs lose tomorrow to Kentucky, can I sue them for emotional distress?
Emotional distress. It would be so emotionally distressing if they lost to the Wildcats.
That's true. That's not what we're talking about today. What I did want to bring up is vaccine mandates, because Washington says businesses with 100 employees or more, any business associated with the government, does business with the government, has to get vaccinated. But then governors change that. What's the rules?
Yeah, so vaccine mandates is actually a constitutional question and an employment question kind of combined into one, which makes it really interesting to me as an attorney, right? When you ever combine these different legal topics together. And so the different rules apply. The Constitution is a limitation on governments. And so public entities have a different rule than private entities, where most private entities in South Carolina are at will, unlike Boeing, who might be a contractual basis.
Okay, because they're so large, and they get enough money from the government, correct?
Right, and they originate from the state of Washington, right? So a lot of times those emanate throughout the entire corporation.
Yeah, so when Washington says you must do this, and then a governor comes in and says we can do this, they can do that because it's not a law, it's just something that's been essentially just dictated, right?
Yeah, and one of the biggest things we have to remember is that there's not just a U.S. Constitution, there's a South Carolina Constitution. And so even if the U.S. Constitution is not implicated, the South Carolina Constitution might be. In South Carolina, Article 1, Section 10 says you have a right to privacy, and part of that has to do with bodily autonomy. And so do you have a right to control your own body, such as having an injection inserted into your body? That's a question, and it's a constitutional question in South Carolina because of that.
Yeah, and your business may be affected and you don't really know it. Like even banks are affected by this because they deal with the government. So if someone's curious, do I have to do this as an employee? Or if someone's curious, do I have to do this as an entity itself? How do they get in contact with you guys to clear things up?
This is an employment and a civil rights question. We handle both of those at Goldfinch Winslow, 843-357-9301, goldfinchwinslow.com.